What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and we're going to be talking about the end of BT-17's meta, which does have a little bit of the starter decks in it, and since they are reaching into the beautiful EX7 meta, which is going to be something we talk about later in the week. But without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. So taking a look at the meta itself, it's got a lot of diversity, actually. And to be honest with you, the top 10 decks are really strong, and the percentages isn't that much of a big difference here. You know, you do have the big three, you know, Blue Green Imperial, Nume, Blue Armor as your big three, but everybody else is slowly creeping up behind it and was holding strong to keep that data. We have over 372 top decks, which we're only counting first with this data information. So any deck that's got in first is counted in. Any deck that didn't isn't counted into the data. First, if you're not first, you're last kind of situation in this pool. So taking that into account, there is a lot of decks here. Our big top 10 we're going to be looking through is Blue Green Imperial, Nume, Blue Armor, Dex Daruga, Fenrir, 7 Great Demon Lords, Yellow Vaccine, Shine Greymon, Insectoids, and Ancient Guru. We already know Mirage kind of can come in and out of format very easily. The deck is just OTK centric, and for long-term or short-term investment, we're just going to see Mirage hell for a good while. You know, Dog Bunny, which is the Terrier Lop decks, is 14, has a good representation as well. Red Blue Omni definitely showing up some value as well. You got like Blue Diaboro, Red Hybrid, Leomon, Bonds of Friendship, Gallimon, Dawn and Dusk, you know, Red Black Greymon, Agumon, Rush, Eosmon, Blue Flare, Mallow, Blue Purple Guru, Jessmon, Yellow Hybrid, Pulsemon, Lucivemon, you know, all these great decks, and they all had potential. And even when Cinderella and Zuffamon both got introduced, the Vortex and the Fairy Tales, they both at least were able to top once. I expect them to show more representation going into next format, but let's get into the decks themselves. First off, let's talk about the number big one. So overall, the deck hasn't really changed much. They use like Promo Vmon that basically helps Digivolve skip evolution by reducing the evolution by 1. So that keeps it valuable because you can use your big boys here to gain the memory back that you just used. And it all matters at the end of the day. I think 3 Imperial Dramon Dragon Mode is kind of the way to go because people will try to play around it, and it's sometimes a hard counter and hard to deal with. But all in all, though, let's take a look further into it. This card right here was introduced in BT-17. From my personal experience, the deck really struggles on one thing, and that was keeping the body on board long term, because sometimes the partition doesn't really matter. You sometimes brick because you are required to find that second piece to combo off, and with that comboing off, you never are guaranteed to go off. So if you're missing that one piece, you're screwed for a couple turns, but when you can go off, you can go off. But when one of your Digimon may digivolve into a level 5 or higher Digimon with free in its traits in your hand for its Digivolution cost reduced by 4, then replace this into the battle area. So already, this makes it so you can get into your Mega for a cheaper, or you can even just get into a level 5 for cheaper that you might not have always been able to, which is very important to take a look at. And even if I noticed that even long-term wise, that was a big problem. Was I was never able to get a body to, if I could not get the bodies to line up in Jagras, I really was in a bad spot. But with Return of the Ancestors, this now lets you Digivolve into your level 4 for a 2 cost, which, I mean, the level 5 into a 2 cost, which helps out immensely. But also this delay that gives a protection, you know, when would be deleted other than by one of your effects by Digivolving that Digimon into a Digimon with Imperial Dramon in its name in your hand without paying its cost, prevent its deletion. This is pretty useful because it gives the protection skill that you needed for the Pyil Dramon to stay on the body, and or even just getting your fighter mode to Digivolve up if they're going to just delete the dragon mode is really important. And then you gain access into Paladin mode Ace that basically is Trash all Digi-Evolution of all your opponent's Digimon, then return all cards from your opponent's trash to the bottom of the deck. If this effect returned a white level 7, gain 3 memory. Then when attacking by returning one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digi-Evolution to the bottom deck, unsuspend this Digimon. Very much a very powerhouse control card, and it all adds up at the end of the day. I really like how they came across this. Then we have Numemon. Numemon is very interesting. I like that next set they kind of started introducing some stuff to it. First off, people have been teching more Digimon Emperors just because you have to stop these two. If you do not prevent them from comboing off, you are screwed. So Emperor is kind of needed now just to slow down your opponent's main strats, and this is what you're going to do, is be able to slow down the Ukumons, because if it passes turn, your turn effect disappears. So they kind of just get shut off if you have enough Emperors on board and we're able to pass turn. You have like Kokuamon here that players can't ignore Digi-Evolution requirements. So this helps to mitigate some of the skip evolutions that have been happening by card effects. So this is a very good preventative card, especially going in the future. So being able to stop the ignoring Digi-Evolution requirements is going to be vitally important. And then you have like Cherubimon Aces starting to be teched into the deck, because this thing can play a level 4 lower green Digimon from your green or yellow Digimon from your hand without paying its cost. Then one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP for each of your other Digimon until the end of their turn. So this is basically another vitally strong card. To be honest with you, I think this is more supported for the Numemon deck than it is for anything else. But also you have Cinderellamon. So this card, Cinderella, basically, Overclock Puppet makes it so it can attack even if it's already attacked for the turn. It has blocker, and then when Digivolving 2 familiar tokens, gain a on deletion, your opponent Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP. I love it. I love how this kind of card is starting to pop into the list, and it's just a starter deck card. I mean, it's up to you how you want to build the deck, but all in all, I think it's vitally important just to remember Digimon Emperor is just such a powerhouse of a card, this format, and even in our current format, you just want to have that. Then we have Blue Armors. Blue Armors definitely got some decent new support. As you know how Magna X antibody works, you're going to be making a big wall. The only problem I have with Armors right now is that if it's a armor deck, they're both staring down menacingly. They're not going to be able to do anything because both aren't really willing to trade off in a swing, because whoever trades off won't get that extra value. And especially if you're facing yellow versions, I mean, unless the yellow vaccine version doesn't play enough outs to this version, to the armor version anyway, unless they are playing Agilwolmons and Megadramon, the dragon evolution for Gatomon. That, as long as they're playing that, they can out you, but most likely it's just a staring harder matchup. It's just like a couple, the old-fashioned reference to Metapod matchup, Harden, that meme. But they did gain a new card with Flame Dramon in it. So when this Digimon's attack target is switched, your opponent adds the top card of the security attack to their hand. Being able to use Flame Dramon as an aggro aggression card especially helps proc your Magna X antibodies. It doesn't matter, just being able to gain that extra value, and then your Magna X can get some needed pluses off of it. Very interesting, especially because as long as it's switched, and it has raid, so it can swing into opponent's Digimon. Then you have like Magnamon itself. This thing being able to trash the top Digivolution of one of your opponent's Digimon, and then for each of that Digimon's color, then return one of your opponent's Digimon no Digivolution cards to the owner's hand. Really solid here. It has a lot of potential. I mean, it's armor and blocker, which never bad. Then we have the decks that are kind of just being underrated here, and that is the X Antibody, Dorumon, Dexteruga. So this deck actually took first in the primaries or whatever that happened Asia Circus Cup or something like that. This deck took first. What I really started noticing a lot of players started doing is adding Final Zubagon Punch. So if this thing makes your Digimon 6000 DP, which can happen very easily, especially with Dexteruga, is that you will get big enough to now be able to swing over the, Golden Boy, because this plus one of your inheritables that gives an extra DP boost, you're now in a threat range that your opponent does not want, and that's 17. So now you can force the Magna X to guard, and because you're forcing the player to suspend it, now you can swing in, get rid of it, and that helps out. So keeping that in mind, there has been two versions, one focusing with Luga and AG, that mind links, because they all are X, and I think they're the X antibodies versions are, how does this work? Oh, SOC traits. Since they're all SOC traits, the whole deck, this can work with IG to be able to give your alliance and blocker. And they are playing a Lugamon package if they wanted to, a small one. But the new Dorumon is really useful for Kosuke and its Digi-Evolutions, and your opponent has a 6 or higher. This Digimon may Digivolve into Dorugamon in your hand for a Digi-Evolution cost of 4, ignoring Digi-Evolution requirements. So being able to skip evolution all the way to your level 6 really does help out, because now you're not playing as bad of a catch-up, which is not bad. And then you have like Dex Dorugamon here, so all turns when one of your Dorugamon would be deleted by Digi-Evolution that Digimon into this card in your trash without paying its cost, but it's to delete that deletion. Then when Digivolving, trash one card in your hand, then draw a card if Dorugamon is in its Digi-Evolutions, or if the Digi-Evolutions or Digivolves from trash, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with play cost 4 or less instead. You have a reboot as well. This is really solid, actually. Double reboot. And then Dex Doru Gray. This card here is when one of your Doru Grays would be deleted by Digivolving that Digimon into this card from trash without paying its cost. Prevent that deletion. When Digivolving, trash one card in your hand, then draw one card if Doru Grays in its Digi-Evolution cards, or if you have a Digi-Evolution with the trash from the trash, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost 6 or less. You may choose one of your Digimon, delete that chosen Digimon, and one of your opponent's Digimon with a level less than or equal to or lower than your chosen Digimon. Not a bad removal pop, which helps out too. And then you have Dexteruga, that's all turns when one of your Dorugamons would be deleted by Digivolving that Digimon into this card from trash without paying its cost, prevent that deletion. The fact that we have a way of giving some decent protection, and it climbs up. Like this one does the same thing, prevents the deletion. This helps out minusing, minus DP shenanigans, but when Digivolving, Digivolve 3 of your opponent's Digimon, then if you have Dorugamon and its Digi-Evolutions, or if you Digivolve from trash, delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level, and then when another Digimon is deleted, you may unsuspend this Digimon. So the deck has a lot of potential, and I'm not surprised. A lot of hard work can go in, and if you have a good understanding of this deck and how it works, you can really make your opponent have a bad day. Then we do have the Fenry deck. So Fenry Luga kind of went to a Tekamazuchi style of play, where they use the BT-17 plus the Kazushimon from BT-17 to combo off to get into Fenry Tekamazuchi. So Fenry Luga Tekamazuchi is very powerful when one of your level 6 Digimon with Pulsemon as text is played. When one of your level 6 Digimon with Pulsemon as text is placed, two of your Digimon may DNA Digivolve this card from your trash. When Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6,000 DP for the turn, which is great. And then if you DNA Digivolve, you may set your opponent's memory to 3. And if you have a Tamer and it is this Digi-Evolution card, gain a memory, recovery 1. So this basically, even if you pass turn, because which Fenry Luga will force you to pass turn because you're going to play the Tekamazuchi shenanigans, you're going to Jagras instantly, and then boom. Or if you just go Fenry Luga hard play Kazuchimon, then Fenry Luga Tekamazuchi instantly Jagras, sets you back to 2, and your inheritables will keep it your turn, and then you just apply pressure and just go at your opponent's face. But they are also using like Cracker Fang, which is a new one. So Cracker Fang, if you have 2 or less memory, it's a mem setter, but Mind Link, one of your Dark Animals or SOC traits. This card is treated as IG, AG. While this card, Digimon, has Dark Ammo SSC, it gains Alliance and Blocker. And then you may play one from all turns. You may play one IG from this Digivolution card without paying its cost. And then they are starting to tech Dexteruga as well, just because of that draw. Trash a card in your hand, draw. It's just a very vitally skilled. But I'm excited to see where this deck develops and goes. Then we do have the 7 Great Demon Lords. It's not going anywhere. EX7 definitely proved that. You know, you're playing just the 7 Great Demon Lord deck. You're just trying to go off here. You're just trying to get this thing to get to 7 different names in its Digievolutions, and then you play the big boss Digimon that can basically clear out, up to 7 cards from the top of their security stack, and then for each card deleted by this effect, reduce the trash by 1. But being able to delete 7 cards and then still trash the top 7 is still a crazy play. But, you have the great powers at B. But I like the interesting tech at the Mako. Some decks are starting to tech this in, just because it is a tamer that reveals the top 3 cards, and then you add, to your hand one of the purple Digimon, and then trash the remaining cards. It helps heals your graveyard and just speeds you up in tempo. But when you play a 2-color purple or yellow Digimon, you may suspend this tamer, gain a memory. So there's only Lucimon, really, that's Lucimon Chaos mode that's going to really get this going, or fall down mode. So either one of those, that's the only card that's going to trigger this Mako, which is not bad, because actually you want to play that one more often than not. So just keep that in mind. I think having Mako as being a way of turboing is really solid. Then we have Golden Armors. As you know, the deck hasn't really changed. You use Awakening the Golden Digizord to Digivolve on your Rappas to get into Magna X Antibody. Or you'll just normally Digivolve Golden Rapidmon on top of X Antibody on top of your Rapids. Just how it kind of goes. The deck is just a big turtle shell and can apply pressure that way. And the ability to just skip evolution and just go in with Emissary of Hope and just Digivolve up is always scary. Then we have Marcus Punchy Boy. I know shuffles were also introduced in the set, but it's really cool to see what decks kind of just change up a little bit. And even in the shape of this one, Shine Greymon Burst Mode Ace, when did you all play 1 Tamer card from your hand without paying its cost? Then for the turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5,000 DP for each of your Tamers. Then suspending up to 2 yellow Tamers for every Tamer with this effect suspended. This Digimon gains Security Attack 1. This is a really solid burst mode. You don't want to use, this thing is just good for Blast Ace and Evolve shenanigans. I like that we have a new Marcus that gains Blocker. So for its on place, because you're going to combo in the Blast mode. And just giving yourself a small Tamer blocker is never bad. And then you have like the new Shine Greymon that people are teching in. So you may play a Marcus from your hand without paying its cost. All turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area by an opponent's effect by returning 1 yellow Tamers to your hand, preventing it from leaving. This is vitally important because this combos in nicely with this Marcus and keeps your body open for Blast Mode Ace shenanigans. And then Awakening of the Sun. Some decks are actually playing this. It gets to play a Marcus from your hand or trash without paying its cost, then place this card into the battle area. And then it's got a delay when one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a card with Shine Greymon in its name from your hand without paying its cost. And that's when one of your Digimon Tamers is deleted or returned to hand. So it's not a bad trade-off. This lets you skip evolution on your opponent's turn, which is a really solid strat. Then Tyrant itself. Tyrant is just one of those big beast sticks that just has big numbers and Unga Boonga. I mean, it definitely got some decent support in like Shivamon Ace. That basically says if you have 3 or more security cards, suspend 1 Digimon, and one of your Digimon gets plus 3,000 DP until the end of opponent's turn. And if you have 3 or fewer security, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. While the Digimon is suspended, it isn't affected by the effects of your opponent's Digimon. Just a really solid Ace shenanigans. You know how Tyrant can control, but it also gained Mega Kabu. So Mega Kabu here, this promo, really helped the deck out, surprisingly. So this card here has Evade, so while this Digimon is suspended, it isn't affected by the effects of your opponent's Digimon. So as long as you can get the evade off, it's really scary. But when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, trash the top card of opponent's security stack. It's just a really good card. Being able to trash stuff for free, especially if you know there's an option you don't want to deal with. If for some reason your opponent's recovering a lot and there's options that can be scary in their deck, this just helps answer by just trashing the stuff. But, you know, all this stuff adds up a little bit, and Mega Kabuterimon and Shivamon Ace are really powerful cards for this deck. Then we have the last Master of Ceremonies here, and it's kind of cool to be able to talk about this. And they have gone, there was some blue base early on, but most of them kind of moved over to the red base just because the red base is just a little bit stronger. And with the Koromon being able to draw with the Ukus and, you know, Okumons, I don't know, you know, just really powerful. And this deck is really interesting. So Flamemon, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Hybrid to 10 Warriors and 1 Tamer inheritable effect among them to your hand, return the rest to the bottom of the deck. The blue version is a little bit worse than the red, even though they're supposed to be like mirror images, but they just didn't go that way. But with Lobomon and Kendo Garuru, you can Digicross into Ancient Garuru for 6, which is really solid. You know, on play, when Digivolve, and return one of your opponent's Digimon at the lowest level to hand. Then once returned, when an effect adds a card to yours or your opponent's hand, your opponent adds the top card of their security stack to hand. That's just allows you to get more lethal in. Then on Unleash, you may return 1 Tamer and 1 Digimon card with Hybrid traits from your trash to your hand. Then you may play 1 Tamer from your hand without paying its cost. So you're going to usually pick the Kojis. Just start of your turn, sets you to 3, and then play this card without paying its cost. But when effect adds a card to your hand, get a memory, and this Digimon gains jamming for the turn. Just a nice little hybrid shenanigans, especially with Lobomon here being blue-yellow. When Digivolving, if you have Kendo in its Digivolution, or if you have a black or purple Digimon or Tamer, this Digimon may Digivolve into Ancient Garurumon in your hand for Digivolution cost 3, ignoring Digivolution requirements. If you Digivolve by this effect, delete that Digimon at the end of turn. Luckily, Ancient Garuru is not an ace, but, you know, being able to have the ability to Digivolve on top of your Tamers is always shenanigans-wise. And then Kendo Garurumon, when attacking, draw a card. When attacking, this Digimon may Digivolve into a hybrid trait from your hand with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. Since they kind of can bounce between each other, which is kind of funny, you can get some decent draw effects. Because remember, if you Digivolve with the when attacking, these inheritable when attackings do not activate. Just keep that in mind. Just because it's now part of the new top card, it's just not getting this when attacking skill because it's already past that because you resolved 1 when attacking. But even Ancient Protectors, you may return 1 card with Hybrid or 10 warrior traits from your trash to your hand. Then you may play 1 Digimon with 10 warrior traits or Tamer card from its inheritable effect from your hand without paying its cost, reduced with the play cost reduced by 4. Not a bad trade-off. I like the Ancient Protectors. It's not like similar to the other protection skills, but it's quite useful. I think this has a lot of potential, but all in all, guys, though, I think this has a lot of potential to be a really good format. And I'm excited to see what BT-17 holds for everybody. And I'm excited to see what the results are. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.